I love you and that's why I'm telling you these things because I value the relationship, or we just get mad and we never talk again and we become estranged. I don't want to have to be convinced. I want to be interested from the beginning. Oh, I'm just your colleague and you talk to me that way? Okay. Heteronormative of me to even assume that in a kid's book. I have a couple of hours before I go to sleep, and so I think I'm just gonna like cozy on up with Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. It's never been the one I want to pick up, but I don't know, something about it feels a little bit cozy right now, and it's just the energy I need. I've just been tired lately. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of TV. I've been spending a lot of time on Pinterest. I deleted the app off my phone today. I think I just need to spend some time inside a book, a cozy little book. I have about a quarter left in Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. I'm really enjoying it. I love Wendell's character. Oh my god. Okay. It's about a woman named Emily Wilde who is in academia. So she's a scholar who studies fairies. And her goal is to visit a remote region. Think of like Alaska, Antarctica vibes. And when she first arrives, she's having trouble. Like, she's an like incredible scholar. That is her strong suit. But it does come at sort of the deficit of her social skills. And she manages to like offend people by accident or like say the wrong thing. That's where one of her colleagues comes in, who is Wendell. And he is very charming and he's very handsome and not nearly as great of a scholar as her, but he does have that like that social charm, and he's able to like get the locals to like him and therefore interview them and things like that. And so together they make a really good team as far as like studying and finding out more about the fairies of this region is concerned. And so I have about a quarter left, and I really like the pacing. Like, I feel like things are constantly happening, but it doesn't feel like rushed. It's like something will happen and then there's like enough downtime to sort of enjoy the coziness and the sort of like exploration of nature and things like that. And then something happens and we'll get a little bit of downtime and some description of the mountains or the valley or the fog. And so I think it does a really good job of like, I feel like there's been like 3 or 4 quests, if you will, so far, and none of them feel random. Like, they all feel, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense that that would be the next thing to happen in the story. I really like it. And the relationship between Emily and Wendell is like, they find each other so irritating. And well, more so Emily finds Wendell irritating. He finds her irritating too in some ways because he's so good at things, like without trying, and like being charming and things she's not good at. She's like, oh my god, like I hate him, he's so annoying. But it's not like enemies or anything like that. She's like, she acknowledges him as a friend. She's just really annoyed by his capabilities, and she's annoyed that he's like lazy and he doesn't like work as hard as her. But I love their banter. Like, I love the way he talks to her. I love at one point, oh, if I can find it. And I love too that he calls her, like, even before there's any acknowledgement of feelings or anything like that, he always calls her like dear Em, like my dear Emily. It's like, oh, I'm just your colleague and you talk to me that way? Okay. He's so funny. Like, just the way he, I don't know. Anyways, it's great. I love it. So yeah, I have about a quarter left. I'm really excited to get to the conclusion, and I hope to be able to get to the second book pretty soon. I am very happy with my reading experience. It ties up enough things that if you're like, I'm good, I don't want to get into a trilogy, I'll end it here. Like, it's satisfying enough. But there are definitely enough plot lines left open that I really want to know what happens next, and I want to like get to the next story. There's like an intense moment near the end, but it was just like a little hand hold and a little face holding, and I was like, oh my god. Now the question is what to read next. I checked out Iron Widow from the library a few days ago, so this is a contender. And I also checked out Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking. So I'll probably just carry both around with me today and maybe, I don't know, just see which one calls to me. I ended up picking this book over The Year of Magical Thinking. Let me grab it. Here it is, The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. I read about 25 pages of this one, and then I don't know, however many pages of this one, and decided that I was way more invested in Iron Widow. In contrast, I was not invested in The Year of Magical Thinking. And I've heard so many good things, and it sounds up my alley. And so it really shocked me by how distant I felt from the story. So like, here's an example of what I mean. Okay, like chapter 2, like there's 9 pages in. December 30th, 2003, a Tuesday. We had seen Quintana in the 6th floor ICU at Beth Israel North. We had come home. We had discussed whether to go out for dinner or eat in. I said I would build a fire. We could eat in. I built the fire. I started dinner. I asked John if he wanted a drink. I know it's intentional, and her point, sort of like retelling this in such a unemotional, very matter-of-fact way, sort of why you're still trying to accept what's happened of her husband dying. Other than the fact that I should be compelled because it's one human being losing the love and physical embodiment of another human being. I don't know the narrator, in this case, the author. Like, I don't know her, and I don't know why I should care, and or, you know, beyond a simple like, oh, that sucks. Like, I feel like I was never let in, and I was never welcomed into her world. And yes, I only read 25 pages. You know, these first 25 pages could be the groundwork for then her perhaps letting us in more. But I don't want to have to be convinced. I want to be interested from the beginning. And I'm losing, at least from this point in my reading journey, it could change. But right now, I want to be hooked from the start, or I'm just not going to finish the book or continue on. Okay, Iron Widow. Iron Widow follows our 18-year-old protagonist, Didion, and she lives in the China of the future, a China of many, many years from now, right? A speculative China. And in this world and time, well, in that world and time, and in this world and time, women are seen as less than men. And she's not playing the game, and she's not okay with it. And very early on, we find out that her older sister died because she enlisted into like the military. But in this world, there are these huge machines called chrysalises. What is the plural of chrysalis? Chrysalises? Okay. And these huge machines called chrysalises. Each one is called a chrysalis, and it is piloted by a man. The man has concubines / co-pilots. The co-pilots are really just there for the man to use her chi, her energy force, and then pretty much inevitably she dies because he's using it all up. And so she's really just an accessory to his piloting and battling, and women are very dispensable. They're just used for their energy force. And so the sister had enlisted, and then she dies. And so Didion is like, okay, I'm going to avenge her. I'm going to enlist so that I can kill the guy who killed her. She does get her vengeance, and it's a really big deal because it's like, she's a woman, and it's like, what? The fact that she was able to even overpower him and kill him, it's not only dishonorable, but just shocking. So then the army is like, well, okay, obviously we're not happy with her, but we are in an ongoing battle with aliens, with these like huge space specimens that are constantly trying to kill us. And so as much as she's a danger to our society because she's not following the rules, we can't just kill her off because clearly she's proven she's so valuable. And what if we use that to our advantage in this war? Some things I actually really like about it is, at least in the beginning, I really enjoyed how angsty she is and how angry she is, because it's really relatable. I remember being 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe even into my 20s, really upset with what I was expected to do or not do because of my gender. And I remember being an angry teen. My dad asked me to wash dishes or something, and me being like, oh, is it because I'm a girl? How come you don't ask my brothers to wash the dishes? And so she embodies that, and she definitely like captures that like angst and rage and oh, because I'm a woman? Oh, so I'm a second-class citizen? It's very on the nose. And I relate to that. I remember that being very true for me. And there also in lies my problem a little bit. Okay, so let's just say overall, banger. I actually really liked it and I was super invested. And I was kind of like flying through it and just reading for hours and hours. And overall, I recommend. My issue is that I feel like Didion, like, where she started is where she stayed as far as like her emotions. And yes, I can point to some places where there was growth, but not really in her actions. Her internal struggle maybe changes a little bit, but she really starts off and ends as the same person in a lot of ways. I expect as a reader for there to be some sort of character journey, some character arc that she goes through. And not that she needs to not be angry and rageful anymore, but what she wants in the beginning is still what she wants at the end. And how she acts in the beginning is still how she acts at the end. And so that was, I think, toward the end when I was realizing like, oh, I don't think she's gonna make better decisions, or I don't think she's gonna change. I think I was starting to give up that she was going to give us any sort of maturing or growth or just any sort of pivot. Yeah, when I realized that was not coming probably, I think that's when I started to like lose interest, and I was reading it slower and I was not as eager to pick it back up and finish it because I was like, well, I feel like I've kind of read it all. Like she's going to be the same until the last page. So my only critique of the book, I would say. But I really enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the relationships. I enjoyed just like the story was very different. I don't usually read. Is this a sci-fi? I think it's considered a sci-fi, right? If there's anything involved in space, in my brain, my schema, that's a sci-fi. So yeah, I haven't read a sci-fi or anything like this. I was gonna say in so long, but probably ever. Like I really don't gravitate toward that. So this did a really good job of sort of like entering me into that world and keeping me invested with the characters and relationships. And it's okay that I sometimes wasn't totally clear on what was going on in the surrounding world because I cared enough about the inner circle of characters that I was like, it's okay that I'm a little bit confused. I believe there's another book and I don't think I'm gonna read it, but I liked this book enough. I'm thinking right now, like, will I purchase it to have in my home library? Something to think about. I don't know the answer yet. Okay, so it's Sunday. Did I say that already? I don't know. It's Sunday, and so I have all day to read. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll give this another shot. And maybe I don't. I think actually I don't want to. So I'm going to look through maybe a nonfiction. No, even as I said that, it doesn't excite me. We'll see. I'm going to go through my library. I'll see what I have. And I'm going to do just, a few errands this morning, a little bit of cleaning. But overall, I want to spend today just with a book. Running errands, and while I was out, I ended up being out for like an hour, 40 minutes. Longer than I thought. But it actually gave me time to sink into an audiobook, and I'm listening to Loving Corrections by Adrienne Marie Brown. Libby let me know that it was off of my Holt shelf probably like a week ago, and it's just been sitting there, and I was like, okay, well, let me listen to this while I get groceries and eat breakfast. Oh, I thought I just saw a spider, but it's a scuff mark on my ceiling. It's read by Adrienne Marie Brown. I always love when a book is read by the author, and I'm really enjoying it. What I'm understanding is that Loving Corrections is when A to B, right? Like, I love and cherish you, and therefore when you misstep or you make a mistake, I'm not going to ignore it because I love you, but I'm also not going to cast you out. I'm going to offer my thoughts on how you can come correct, perhaps, or how this situation can be corrected, but through love and mutual respect and understanding. I think it's an important book, especially if you're really for everyone. I was gonna actually get rid of my disclaimer. It's a really good book for everyone because we're on relationship with each other. Okay, yeah, especially more so if you're trying to do community work, but really everyone. And even the way she's reading the audiobook, like you can hear her smile and like laugh a little bit and chuckle, and like she's in Loving Corrections too, right? She's offering like what's wrong with the patriarchy, and the first one's a letter to men, And she's presenting it as someone who loves the men she's talking to. So I'm listening to that. Well, I was listening to that. I'm home now. The question is, will I keep listening to it or will I switch to something physical? I don't know. I think something physical, and then maybe while I'm washing dishes or cooking, I will get back to this. This is my youngest sister's copy of Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. And look at the bookmark I found inside that she left. And there's a little note on the back, but I won't show it to you. It's a little Valentine's Day note. I'm 16 pages in. I've never watched the movie, so we'll see how I like it. I have no idea. It's later today, and I am 180 pages in. It's fast read because it's middle grade, and so there's like not many words per page, which is great. It's a fun book. And I will admit, the first maybe 35, 40 pages, I was like, okay, it's not bad, but I don't know that I get it. I don't know that I like get the appeal. And that's because Sophie hadn't met Howl yet, or his moving castle. Okay, so what is this about? So Sophie has 2 younger sisters. She's the eldest of 3, which is bad. It means that she's destined to fail miserably if she ever leaves the house to seek her fate. I don't know what kind of world this is. I don't like that rule. She has a little run-in with the Witch of the Waste, and the Witch of the Waste turns her into an old lady. What an interesting premise, because she's gonna meet someone. I have no idea if she falls in love with Howl or not. And so I'm very intrigued by her being old and their interactions with her being an old lady. Whether or not it goes that way, it's still like really fun, but I'm just like, that's in the back of my mind. I'm like, is he gonna fall in love with the grandma? She ends up meeting Howl, his moving castle, and she's trying to figure out how to break the spell. And she meets Calcifer, the fire demon, who I have seen photos of. And so like, even though I haven't seen the movie, I know I'm picturing him. And Howl has an apprentice named Michael, who I was not aware of before this. So it's been really fun, and I'm excited, and what I'm really excited about is watching the movie after I'm done. I already put it on hold with my library, so I'm gonna pick up the DVD. I'm having a good time, which is good, because I was like, what if I don't like this? This is my sister's favorite book. But no, it's good. Finished Howl's Moving Castle, and I literally had tears in my eye on the last page. It was very cute, and it was very whimsical, and it just like, I haven't read it, like, this is middle grade. It just reminds me so much like less Percy Jackson, more, is Percy Jackson middle grade? Yeah, I think so. Less Percy Jackson, more Phantom Tollbooth. Like, just a lot of random things keep happening, and there's a lot of, I don't want to call it filler because I'm not using it like in a negative way. Like, there's a lot of like filler. Like, this is over 400 pages, so it's just a bunch of like fun random happenings, and yes, there's a plot line throughout. Howl and Sophie do end up in love, so I was right. There was a while there where I was like, this is not going in that direction, and how heteronormative of me to even assume that in a kid's book. But no, it did go in that direction. My sister lent me copies of the other 2. This says the sequel to Howl's Moving Castle, and this says a companion to Howl's Moving Castle. So I'm guessing I would read this one first and then this one. I'm not gonna do that in this video, but eventually I will. I really like Sophie. I especially like her when she turns into an old lady, because she just becomes so, she just says what she's thinking, she got a little attitude, and she goes from this very like meek eldest daughter, we only see that for about 40 pages, and then the rest of the 350 pages, she's an old lady. The way that old people don't care, they'll just say whatever because they've lived long enough. She gets like that, and it's really fun. Howl reminds me so much of Wendell from Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. I even made myself a little Venn diagram so I wouldn't forget. Well, I didn't really work very hard on this. The only things I have on them being different is that Howl hates cleaning, Wendell loves cleaning. But they both love the ladies. Like, they are rotating through women And they're just, because they're very charming, literally, and very vain. And they're just like, hey, girl, hey. And they both got that going on for them. And they're both very dramatic. When things don't go their way, they're just like, oh my God, whoa, it's me. And they're both really funny. When Emily accidentally hurts Wendell, instead of screaming or being mad or being like, wah, panicking, he's basically like, oh, okay, good. So that's what we're doing. And so he's very like, they're very funny in the way they talk to the female protagonist. And in this point, Sophie did something. Well, Sophie's always doing things she shouldn't be doing. But basically she does something she shouldn't have done. And then Howl realizes that. And instead of like screaming or getting mad, he's like, oh, well done, Sophie. Anything else you want to tell me about? Like, it's a very, I don't know. I don't know what you would call that, but the way they talk. And it's funny. I enjoy that sort of like banter. I have also been listening to Loving Corrections, and I'm 66% of the way into the book. And I have different levels of what it's a collection of essays or writings. So there are some that are really meaningful and I'm taking a lot from, and some that have nothing to do with me. So I'm still listening to them, but I'm like, yeah, I kind of, not that I didn't get anything from it, but I'm like, that wasn't for me. And she even says that in the beginning. She's like, hey, some of this is very specific for certain groups of people and it might not be for you. So like, take what's yours and leave what's not. I really enjoyed about Writing Sisters, Rightting, Writing Sisters. I think as someone who has siblings, most of us are adult. I mean, we're all adults. Some of us are very young adults. Some of us are older adults. Hearing the author and her two sisters talk about being in adult relationships with each other and the effort that it takes and the open communication that it takes and the strategies it takes and the integrity, but also just having to really love and value the relationship to allow it to go through an uncomfortable moment of like growth and having to be honest, like, hey, what you did or what you said like hurt me. And it's not like being kids or teenagers and yelling at each other, right? And you're living together and you're like, like, mom, right? It's like, as adults, we can either talk about it, I love you and that's why I'm telling you these things because I value the relationship, or we just get mad and we never talk again and we become estranged. And so that one is the one that really stuck in my head the most and that I personally got the most from so far. I'm not going to finish the book yet. Like, I'm going to listen a little bit every day for a while. Like, I realized that I won't be finishing in this video, but I realized I don't want to speed run it. I don't want to listen to too many essays without then being able to really reflect on and think about and meditate on each one individually. So I'm done reading that for today. And so I'm just going to listen to it a little bit tomorrow and the next day and the next day and just get little bits and pieces from it. Yes, we're at the end. Thank you for watching and hope to see you at the next one. Bye.